So you do have a delegation waiting in the waiting room. I don't know what order you want to do that in. We are live now.
Okay, Arlos, I do have one question. So when I'm going between screens, I can see everybody, but I can't see the waiting room. So is it only the host that sees the meeting room then?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, we can call this meeting to order at 9:03 a.m. And then we will be removing Nick Palladino as a delegation. Bonnie has a statement for him, as well as the addition of a discussion on the ministerial order. Bonnie, I'm just wondering, is that something that we should do at the beginning of the meeting or add it to the end of the agenda?
You can do it at the end of the agenda. With respect to the subdivisions, I have spoken to the applicants and they're aware that decisions won't be made on applications today.
Okay, thank you. That would be my question. So, okay, is there any other additions to the agenda? Seeing none, if I could have an approval for the agenda, please.
I can give you that.
Okay, thank you, Murray. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
In favor.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Tam. I can see your hand, so that's good. So that is carried. And then the next order of business would be the minutes, I believe. Just 1 second here. Yes, adoption of the minutes. Is there any questions or concerns on the minutes? Hearing none, if we could have Tamara moves the minutes. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
In favor.
And those are carried.
Now
Okay, we will, because we do have a delegation on the line who is Tom Patterson, we will just jump ahead to his subdivision application first, which is subdivision application 2020-0-034. Bonnie, if you could please speak to that.
Sure. This is a subdivision application in the southwest quarter of 26915 by Prairie Wood Inc. And the applicant's proposing to create a 27.04 acre parcel for the isolated single lot country residential use, and then about a 40 acre cutoff parcel, which is located south of the canal right of way. The proposed country residential lot incorporates 2 houses, some ancillary buildings, corrals, a dugout, a shelter belt, and then a portion of agricultural land. The potable water supply for the dwelling is a cistern, and an individual septic field system is the means of septic disposal. Access to the country residential lot is from the existing driveways off of the MD roadway, and then likewise the cutoff piece has a separate access south of the canal. The residual 75 acre parcel north of the canal is under agricultural use, and the proposed cutoff parcel south of the canal contains a cell tower and agricultural uses as well. The proposal does exceed the maximum 3 acre lot size for residential single lot subdivision, and it also exceeds the maximum number of dwellings on a parcel of less than 80 acres in size. So to approve this subdivision, the Subdivision and Development Authority would need to grant a waiver to the maximum 3 acre lot size, as well as a waiver to the number of dwellings on a single parcel. The applicant is requesting a waiver to the maximum 3 acre lot size to incorporate some existing improvements, and then also a small portion of land that's currently under agricultural use. However, what they'd like is the resulting 75 acres to actually be consistent with the larger pivot system that's irrigating the agricultural land north and east of the proposed country residential lot. And Mr. Patterson can talk to that in a minute here. The area south of the existing farmstead incorporates agricultural land irrigated by a small partial pivot, and the SMRID will require the landowner to enter into an easement and a remote delivery agreement for continued supply of water to that country residential lot. Additionally, the waiver for the 2 dwellings on a single parcel, given the location of the existing dwellings, it would be virtually impossible to subdivide out those separately. So in this case, the recommendation would be to approve that requested waiver. The parcel also contains an active oil and gas lease by Sandling Energy, and Sandling Energy requests that the proposed country residential subdivision not encroach upon the well site, the access road, or the pipeline right-of-way unless the landowner enters into a new right-of-way agreement. The subdivision boundary as currently proposed is fairly consistent with this. There might be some need for some minor adjustments at the subdivision finalization stage through the subdivision when the subdivision is undertaken. So with this subdivision, the two issues are the maximum number of dwellings and the maximum acreage for the country residential lot. We didn't receive any comments from adjacent landowners, and no other review agencies had any issues or concerns with the subdivision.
Sorry, I'm doing my call from my phone, so I'm getting calls. So, Mr. Patterson, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You'll just have to speak really loudly into the phone as you it. So, is there anything that you would like to add to this, or does the SDA have any questions first for Mr. Patterson?
This is Merrill. Question maybe.
I'm not seeing any questions yet, Mr. Patterson, so you can go ahead if you'd like to add or speak to it.
Well, I think Bonnie's pretty much addressed it. We have interest in the farmland, but of course they're not interested in the buildings. And pretty much, as I said, the way it was drawn out was to make sure that the lease stayed on one parcel of land, and that's how it would be final surveyed. And outside of that, I don't know what else to add.
Okay. Now, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Patterson on that?
Jennifer, I have a question. It might be for Bonnie, just so I understand exactly. I've got on page 10 of 33, Bonnie, a proposed parcel 2.
Merrill, you're going to have to speak louder into. We can't hear you at all.
Okay, sorry. I feel like I'm swallowing this microphone already. Bonnie, on page 10 of 33, there's a map, proposed parcel 2 of 27 acres, and then on page 11 of 33, there's another proposed parcel. It's only 9 acres. Can you tell me which one we're proposing to go ahead with?
Yes, so the difference there is the two separate resolutions that were sent. So the SDA's options are you can approve the proposal as proposed, which is the 27-acre piece. So on that aerial photo, you can see that it incorporates the existing farmstead as well as that smaller agricultural piece that I'm talking about to the south of the parcel. Then the second option, and that's on the second resolution, would be that the Subdivision and Development Authority could require that the parcel be reduced in size to incorporate only the existing improvements, and that's that second drawing that just shows approximately 9.05 acres. The 9.05 acres is not what the applicant is proposing. That would be the SDA's option, if you wish, and in that case, then that would result in a residual agricultural parcel of 92 acres.
Okay, I understand that now. Okay, so on the parcel, whichever one the SDA goes with, there's 2 homes on the parcel. Are they serviced by separate septic systems, or are they sharing a septic system?
No, they have separate septic and they have separate water.
Okay. Second question would be, whichever one you went with, you couldn't subdivide it further to take the one house out of, like to subdivide it further, it would still just be one big parcel? Do you know?
Correct.
Okay.
Where the house is, the second house, it's not possible to subdivide. Additionally, too, once this subdivision occurs, then there is no more subdivision potential on the country residential lot, whether it's the 9-acre or the 27-acre.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Patterson, for coming on today. Is there any questions that you have of us?
No, I think that's pretty much got it covered.
Okay, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Pardon me?
I'm done?
Yes, you don't have to stay on, but if you want to for a little bit, we have a couple minutes that is still open meeting, but then we go into closed session for deliberations.
Well, if nobody needs anything more from me, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Okay, so if we could go back to the main page of the agenda, or up to the other items. Kirk, if I could have you go through your applications, and then Bonnie, if you could just cover yours quickly, and then we can go into closed session. And I just have one question. Is anybody else having a hard time with volume? Did it get quieter on you? Or is it just me?
I'm good. I can hear things quite well.
Okay.
I can hear you crystal clear.
All right. I'm having a hard time hearing you guys, so maybe I need to...
My difficulty was Meryl, but I could hear you. The one question I had is when we had our other Zoom meeting, and I just can't seem to find it on the screen, I could see everyone. Now I'm only seeing the chat person. Is that just how the meeting's controlled?
Are you on your phone or on your computer?
iPad. Same as I was the other day.
Tap the screen and see if you see little dots at the bottom. And see if you can maybe slide screens. That's how mine is. But...
You may also want to look in the top right corner for gallery view.
Yep.
Just carry on. I'm good.
Okay. All right, Kirk, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Development application number 17-20. Maria Weed. This is actually this was first tabled by the SDA on March the 23rd for further information regarding the 350-foot intersection setback. As you recall, Maria Weed was requesting a waiver of the 150-foot setback to 75 feet from the center line of Range Road 15-3 and a waiver of the 150-foot setback to 55 feet from the center line of the service road for placement of trees, which is part of the ASB Shelter Belt program. We did have some comments from Craig Pittman, the Director of Infrastructure. We do have an update from the development team in regards to this application. Scrolling down. Development application. (18-20). The MD of Tabor is proposing to construct a highway truck park and rest stop with a paved parking lot and a concrete washroom building located on the portion of Southwest 11-13-16 west of 4. This is actually part of the Vauxhall truck stop project, which is right across the street from, say, the Esso in town. The application falls within the town of Vauxhall's IDP and was circulated for their comment. The town of Vauxhall has responded. They have no comments to this application. The roadside development application has been completed and submitted to Alberta Transportation due to the proximity to Highway 36. The land use district is rural highway commercial. It is a discretionary use. It does have some of the common comments. Scrolling down to the last one. Application number 19-20. Brad and Robin Secura are proposing to construct a 1,873 square foot dwelling and a 30 by 30 foot detached garage located on the portion of Northwest 35-13-15 west of the 4. It's 110 acres. This will be the second dwelling on the parcel. The application was also requesting a waiver of the 150 foot centerline setback to 112 feet for the placement of the dwelling and the garage. Following comments were received from Craig Pittman, the Director of Infrastructure, regarding the 150 foot setback. He doesn't believe that would cause any issues. The land use district is rural agriculture. It is permitted, does have the standard conditions. Madam Chair, I believe that is the 3 development permits before the SDA on this agenda.
Okay, Bonnie, if you could go
All right.
ahead.
Subdivision application 2020-0-026, northeast quarter of 2313-16-4. The applicant is proposing to subdivide a 6.47 acre lot from the west half of the northeast quarter 1316 for isolated single lot country residential use. The proposed lot incorporates a mobile home and several ancillary buildings. A cistern serves as the potable water supply for the mobile home, and an individual septic field system serves as the means of sewage disposal. Access to this lot is from the existing driveway off adjacent Highway 524, and the residual 73-acre lot is under agricultural use. The proposal does exceed the maximum 3-acre lot size requirement for single-lot country residential subdivision, and therefore, to approve the proposal, a waiver would need to be granted, and the applicant is requesting this waiver to include existing improvements. There is a sour gas pipeline located in proximity of the subdivision. However, all of the minimum setback requirements are met. The residual 73 acres of the subject parcel is actually being required to be consolidated with the east half of this quarter, and that's required to comply with Alberta transportation requirements for access to Highway 524. This issue was discussed with the applicant, and there were 2 choices: to either establish the access easement that would give access to the 73-acre piece, or consolidation. Since the property is owned by the same person, they're going to consolidate. No issues or concerns were identified by any other responding review agencies, and no comments were received from adjacent landowners. There were some issues identified with respect to the condition of the mobile home upon a site inspection, and the applicant's agent had been requested to submit additional documentation demonstrating that the dwelling is habitable, because the subdivision policies for residential single lot subdivision require the presence of a habitable dwelling. So the agent has submitted the attached photos in your agenda, as well as an electrical bill to serve as documentation that the mobile home is habitable and currently being occupied. In discussion with the assessor, he has indicated that the mobile home is currently being assessed at storage value. So to approve the subdivision, a determination by the SDA that the mobile home constitutes a habitable dwelling is required. Just for the record, I would like to read Mr. Palladino's commentary into the record here. Mr. Palladino is authorized on behalf of the agent to submit information. So he says, first, let me say I'm sorry I'm unable to attend the virtual meeting this morning. I am the former planning and development manager for Lethbridge County, retired 7 years ago. One of the former owners of this property, Mr. Kelly Poynton, contacted me to ask if I could stick handle this subdivision application through the regulatory process. Mr. Poynton has an agreement with the new owner, 3C Farms, to purchase this farmstead if all goes well today, of course. The request is a pretty straightforward subdivision of 6.4 acres from a quarter section. As you can see from the air photos, with the trees, fencing, buildings, and other structures, this corner isn't much value to the cultivated portion of the land. We believe this request meets all of the subdivision criteria in your municipal development plan. I understand the only concern is whether the mobile home is occupied or habitable. So I asked Mr. Poynton to provide some photos along with a copy of a recent power bill to verify he does in fact occupy the home. And in those photos, you can also see he is undertaking some cosmetic renovations. Now, I realize it isn't a palace, but who am I to judge? However, I believe the photos demonstrate that the unit is occupied, thus fulfilling the requirements of your subdivision regulations. Also, given the age of the mobile home, engaging a safety code officer as suggested would be of no benefit. I can tell you now that a 44-year-old mobile home would not meet current building codes. And I would submit that the majority of occupied dwellings in existence today likely do not meet current codes in one form or another, given that standards change and codes are updated on a regular basis. In other words, the only time a residence may be in complete compliance could be as little as 1 or 2 years after an occupancy permit is issued when construction is complete. With that, I would respectfully request the SDA approve this application. Thank you for your time. Nick Palladino. And the second subdivision application we've already gone through. That's southwest quarter of 26-915, subdivision application 2020-0-034. And then lastly, we are in receipt of subdivision circulation by the town of Tabor, and that is a proposal to subdivide parcel in the southwest quarter of 61016, lot 1, block 6, plan 0815248, into 4 parcels.
Okay, thank you. So if we have the addition of the discussion on the ministerial order. However, if we could please have a motion to go into closed session for deliberation.
I will make that motion.
Okay, Levitt, all in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Murray, are you in favor? I think he maybe unmuted himself too soon. Okay, so we